Thank you for joining Resurrection Lutheran Church this Sunday morning, giving praise with us for God's blessings of music, prayer, and scripture. I, Pastor Karen Perkins, will be sharing a message of grace, forgiveness, and hope.
You. Let us pray. Oh God, we thank you for your Son, who chose the path of suffering for the sake of the world. Humble us by his example, point us to the path of obedience, and give us strength to follow your commands. Through Jesus Christ, our Savior and Lord. Amen. Now it's time for a children's message. Oh, Victoria, were you listening when Dolores was reading?
Yeah.
And did you hear something that maybe we talked about before we came to church today?
Yeah.
Do you remember what it is?
Be sad and be nice to when other people are sad and nice.
That's a good paraphrase. So the reading from Romans today says, "Rejoice with those who rejoice, and weep with those who weep." So be happy with your friends who are happy, and be sad if they're sad. We gotta move here. Speaking of being sad, let's go. Cutter? Sorry. She's a very overconfident, helpful sister. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't yell into that. Okay. So what book did we read today, and what book did we bring? Do you know what it's called? I'm going to show it to everybody who's here. It's called The Rabbit Listened, and it's by Corey Doerfeld. I might be saying that wrong. But this book, which we got in the mail from the Imagination Library, this book is about a boy named Tyler. What did Tyler do?
Build.
He built something.
And it was a tassel.
And then what happened?
Birds knocked it down. Then he was upset.
And he was upset. And how did the chicken want to help?
I don't know.
You want me to take over now? The chicken wanted to talk. Talk, talk, talk. What did the bear want to do?
Grr, grr. Grr, grr.
The bear wanted to yell. And the elephant? The elephant wanted to remember.
The Heidi.
Wanted to laugh. And the ostrich wanted to hide. The kangaroo wanted to throw it all away. And the snake, what did the snake want to do?
Want to do it to someone else's.
Yep, wanted to do it to someone else. Bye-bye. Have a safe choice. Alright.
I want it.
I'll just sit here. Yep. Tyler didn't want any of those things to happen. He did not want to talk. He did not want to laugh. He did not want to hide.
He did not want to do any of those things.
No. Well, what did the rabbit do? Not so close. What did the rabbit do?
He nibbled and nibbled was to him.
He just sat there.
Sat there.
And then
He listened and listened.
He listened while Taylor talked. He listened while he shouted. He listened as he remembered and laughed and tried to hide and throw everything away. And while he thought about ruining for others, the rabbit listened. And the rabbit never left.
He built again.
And the rabbit said, "I can't wait."
Then they built and they built
they're sad, should we just say, you'll be fine, let's talk about it?
No.
Should we get back at people who made us upset?
No.
No. And if we see that somebody's upset, what should we do?
Listen.
Listen. You ready to pray? Not so close to your mouth.
Dear God.
Dear God, thank you for giving us listening ears so that we can help all your children.
Amen.
Invite you to rise as you are able. Let us together welcome the gospel. Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Jesus reveals the ultimate purpose of his ministry. These words prove hard to accept, even for a disciple whom Jesus has called a rock. The Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
From that time on, after Peter confessed that Jesus was the Messiah, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and undergo great suffering at the hands of the elders and the chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised. And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, God forbid it, Lord, this must never happen to you. But he turned and said to Peter, Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me, for you are setting your mind not on divine things, but on human things. Then Jesus told his disciples, If anybody want to become my followers, let them deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For those who want to save their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake will find it. For what will it profit them if they gain the whole world but forfeit their life? Or what will they give in return for their life? For the Son of Man is to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will repay everyone for what has been done. Truly, I tell you, there are some standing here who will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord.
You may be seated. It's a fairly complex text. And the first part of it was so beautifully captured by the rabbit listened, and the story that Amanda and the kids told, because it starts with this: Peter has just confessed, you are the Messiah, the chosen one, Son of God. And he's just claimed that, and Jesus says, on this rock I will build my church. And I don't know if you remember, but last week I said it's on the rock of that confession. Not the rock of Peter, but the rock of that confidence that God will build the church. And then right after that, love Peter. Jesus is saying, okay, this is what's going to happen. And Peter wants to figure something else out, which is natural. We all do it. We would all do it. Whenever you see something coming that is going to be problematic, whether it's for yourself or for a loved one, you try to figure out a different way, right? A way that's not going to be painful, or a way that's not going to feel destructive, or a way that is not going to be as challenging. And certainly we want that for our kids. Usually is we want them to be challenged just enough to grow, but not enough to be miserable. And so if we can see something coming, you say, this, or whatever level of input they'll accept from us, because, we don't always accept from our parents, but we do it around relationships, or around jobs, or moves, whatever. It's natural. But sometimes we do it when the person who is on that path knows the challenges ahead, anticipates the challenge, and is deciding to invest in that challenge, and we still want to detour them and help them avoid pain. Or if somebody is grieving, we want to try to say, well, something that's going to make them feel better, right? Most of us have been in that moment of, I don't know what to do to make them feel better. And most of us have been on the receiving end of that. And what's the answer? You can't. You can't. You can't make it better when somebody's suffering. And you can't make it better if somebody has chosen a path that they know is going to be challenging, but they're deciding to take on that challenge. And in trying to prevent them from engaging in that challenge, you might really be leading them astray. Jesus is saying, this is going to happen. This is going to happen, and through this, will this Messiah thing happen? Right? Peter has just said, you're the Messiah. And Jesus says, yeah, and this is how it's going to happen. This is how this Messiah thing is going to happen. The chosen one, the king, the reign. It's through obedience. And it's through obedience that is humbling and in fact humiliating. Humble, humiliate, same root word, right? It's going to be painful because that's the way that God has chosen to redeem humanity, to become that vulnerable, to incur that suffering. And then he says, if any want to be my followers, let them deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. Okay, up till now, it was bad enough. We have to leave our jobs and follow you. We have to just come with you without even packing or planning. And we're not supposed to take extra clothes. We're not supposed to take extra food. We're not supposed to take money. We're supposed to trust that the people will receive us in the places that we're called, and they will feed us. And okay, that's already a pretty big risk. There's some healing involved and some miracles that you've told us we're going to perform even greater ones. And we notice that the leaders, the religious leaders of the temple, are getting angry with us, so we're getting in trouble. But so far so good. And then Jesus says, if any would be my followers, take up their cross and follow me. Well, take up their cross is an interesting phrase because this is before the crucifixion. So this is Jesus anticipating the crucifixion, or Matthew foreshadowing the crucifixion, or both. But taking up one's cross, they all know that the most shameful way that somebody can be executed is through crucifixion, and that the condemned is carrying their own cross to the place of crucifixion. There's meaning to this. Take up their cross, which is not lightweight. That means take up the thing that you're called to go through and that you're called to offer. And this is about sacrificial loving and sacrificial giving. And Paul spells it out a little bit more specifically in the Romans, but this is about saying, what am I called to give for the benefit of another? Not because I want to give it, not because it's extra, not because I feel good giving it. And not that
you can't give extra and you can't feel good about it. But that's not why. What do I give for the benefit of another? And sometimes that means sacrifice. And for all of us, at some point, that will mean sacrifice. We have to give something we don't want to give. We have to give time we don't want to give. We have to give another chance when we don't want to give it. We have to give money that we don't want to give. We have to just give somebody else their preference when we don't want to give it. For the sake of love, for the sake of loving neighbor. It comes a little more, I don't know if it's naturally, but we're a little more trained to do it closer to home when we know that we give up certain seats for people. You know, if you have particular places that people sit in your household, and as long as Grandpa's not here, I can sit on this chair. But when Grandpa's here, I mean, the grandkids learn that, right? You learned it when you were grandkids, and the grandkids learn that when Grandpa's here, then I get up and give up the seat to Grandpa. We know that if we're on public transportation, Brad always teases me about public transportation, but on public transportation, there are seats that we give up for people that it's too hard for them to get to, more difficult seats, or it's too hard for them to stand. And sometimes we're really tired and we don't want to. And why can't the person sitting across from me give up their seat? Right? They look fine. I'm tired. I don't know if you've been in that situation on public transportation, but you've been in that situation in something where you don't want it. And following Jesus means saying, is this something I'm being called to give for love of this person? For love of this person for their welfare, for love of this person so that they can encounter Christ. Do I need to be different? Do I need to accept something different so that another person can encounter Christ? And one of my favorite ways to talk about this is through hymns that we don't like or we do like. I'll have hymns we do or don't like. And types of worship we do or don't like. And I won't say who it is, but this person has given me permission to share this story. One person told me, I really don't like singing the Lord's Prayer. And there's one of the Lutheran liturgical settings where we sing the Lord's Prayer as part of the liturgy. The person says, I don't like it, and this is why it's wrong, and it's bad, and I don't experience God in it, and whatever. And as we talked about, well, why is the congregation singing the Lord's Prayer? Because you know what, there are other people in the congregation that encounter God through singing the Lord's Prayer. There are other people for whom that's a great blessing. For every single hymn that I don't like, there's a good reason we switch up picking hymns here, because for every hymn I don't like, there's somebody for whom that's an important hymn. That hymn speaks to them, the words speak to them, the memories associated with it speak to them. And it's necessary for us to live with those sort of things for each other. It gets harder than that. I will say that, and it has been challenging here, you know, I don't prefer to have the cameras and the microphones spread out around here. It's not my first choice. It really isn't. But what I know is that there are just as many, often more people worshiping from home as there are worshiping in the sanctuary. And I want you to be here with us. I want you to be worshiping with us. And the way that we share the space is by using tools that we have to bring people into the space with us. It's not the first way I would go if there weren't any other considerations, but we have to say which is the thing I'm being called to do. Am I being called to give this up because I believe it's going to help somebody encounter another? Am I being called to give more money than is my fair share? Am I being called to give food for people who are just going to waste it, or who should be getting it together on their own, or who, fill in the blank of why I don't want to give it to them. Why I don't want to be responsible for it. Can somebody else do it? Because sometimes that's the sacrifice we're invited into as followers of Jesus. Because when it was time to go to the cross, and Peter wanted Jesus to have another way. Anybody who loved Jesus wanted him to have another way. And even those of us who know how the story goes may read the story wanting it to have a different way. We know that Jesus chose to take on the suffering and the pain and the humbling of the cross for our sake, even though we didn't deserve it. Even though he didn't want to. I mean, he says, please take this cup from me. He didn't want to. Even though it seems like he shouldn't have done it. He shouldn't have done it. Okay, that fix the grammar on that in your head. He went. And that's what following Jesus is. And when we say that we're going to bear, that's somebody's cross to bear, that's not something that they're stuck with. Like, oh, that's your cross to bear, you're stuck with it, too bad that happens to you, I feel bad for you. Your cross is something that you knowingly take up, saying, I choose to do this because it benefits God's beloved children. And it benefits them in the way that I'm called to give, the way that I'm able to give. I may be able to give in a way that somebody else isn't. And maybe that is listening, rather than doing what we want. I love the story of the different animals and how they want to help, and they want to make it better. If somebody's in pain and I want to make it better, whose wants are being served by my actions? They're mine. Well, trying to discern what are that person's needs. That's the following Jesus part. That's the taking of one's cross. So when you decide to give joyfully, even when you don't want it. Because that's the God we follow.
Please join me in the Apostles' Creed. I believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth. I believe in Jesus Christ, his Son, our Lord. He was conceived by the power of the Holy Spirit and born of the Virgin Mary. He suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, and was buried. He descended to the dead. On the third day he rose again. He ascended into heaven and is seated at the right hand of God. He will come again to judge the living and the dead. I believe in the Holy Spirit, the Holy Catholic Church, the communion of saints, the forgiveness of sins, the resurrection of the body, and life everlasting. Amen. Remembering the caring and generous works of God, we pray for the church, creation, and the needs of our neighbors. God of life, your words are the joy at the heart of your church. Draw the seeker to you, place messages of hope and healing in the mouths of your witnesses, and open your children to your truth when we stumble. Merciful God, receive our prayer. God of steadfast love, renew the earth by your Spirit, that lands and oceans reveal the beauty of your creation. Challenge us to live humbly and peaceably as part of your world. Merciful God, receive our prayer. God of patience, lead those who govern to hold fast to what is good. Guide them to show honor to people in their care. Overcome evil in all nations, and grant peace to peoples and places mired in conflict. Merciful God, receive our prayer. God of deliverance, remember all who are suffering, lonely, and in pain. Liberate your people being insulted, persecuted, or in the grasp of ruthlessness. Give endurance to workers who persevere on this Labor Day and ensure fair wages, safe working environments. Merciful God.
Receive our prayer.
God of justice, equip this congregation to boldly follow you in uncertain times and to remain faithful in prayer when facing challenges. Guide our church council and task forces in their visioning for our ministry. Show us how best to love and care for one another in our communities. Merciful God,
Receive our prayer.
God of glory, we give thanks for the saints who now dwell with you in splendor, including those lost in Lahaina. Nurture us in faith until the day we join their heavenly song. Your merciful God.
Receive our prayer.
Remember us according to your steadfast love as we offer these and the prayers of our heart, trusting in your compassion, made known through Jesus Christ. Amen.
This is the part of our service where we lift up our gifts to God. We offer ourselves, our time, and our possessions. Members, of course, are encouraged to give our regular tithes and offerings through an assigned number, and we have regular vehicles for doing that. You're invited to go to our website and use PayPal or one of the other donate buttons that we have on the website. You can make a special offering to the RLC on KINY ministry, which helps keep this on the air, or to the RLC Food Pantry, or to Juneau Live, which helps with community outreach. You're also more than welcome to come by in person or make a food donation. We encourage people also to be involved with the community and appreciate volunteers. All of these things are gathered together in song and prayer.
Lord, remember us in your kingdom and teach us to pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Let us announce together.
The mission of Resurrection Lutheran Church is to promote spiritual growth in Christ and service to all people. Before I send you with a blessing, I'm going to remind you that there is Bible study tomorrow night at 6:15, and we are talking about what it means to be Christian, what it means to be church, and what it means to be Lutheran. So you're absolutely invited, even if you haven't come to our previous sessions. The God who calls across the cosmos and speaks in the smallest seed, bless, keep, and sustain you, now and forever, to the end of the age. Amen.
Go in peace with Christ beside you.
Thanks be to God.
This has been an abridged worship service of Resurrection Lutheran Church. You are welcome to join us for worship in person on Sunday mornings at 9:30. We are located at 740 West 10th Street in downtown Juneau. Our phone number is 586-2380. More information about our location, parking lot, current COVID policy, and other contact information is available on our website at rlcjuneau.org. The website is also the best way to learn about what events are happening with the community outreach ministry, Juneau Live. With a vital food pantry, bell choir, quilting group, Bible study, and others, there may be a ministry here just for you. Come and see.